as I said, I'm not gonna do anything about Valorant unless it's recorded, it's documented, even how I used to learn games. Well, really, you learn games when I try to excel at them, which is just watch an exorbitant amount, a huge amount of YouTube videos about gameplay, about tips and tricks, and about all of that. So I've done that with almost all of the games that I've been playing, whether I am really good at them, mediocre, or amazing, just amazing. Well, no, enough ranting. I'm doing it with Valorant right now, and I might not play in this video. I might not, don't know yet. But mostly I have my coffee here. I'm gonna show you guys. All right, here's my coffee. Yeah, I might say how I drink my coffee because I'm not gonna talk about coffee in this video. This video, I am gonna talk about Gekko and Preach and Cypher. Those are the three agents that now I have. It's called key unlock in my neuroplastic mind thingy. So the way that we learn anything in life is first you form a question, then you seek an answer. Believe me, if you see an answer first, meaning if I never played Gekko or Preach or Cypher or Valorant for that matter, and watched 10, 20 videos for Valorant, it will never be the same. It will never, because my mind haven't formed the questions yet. So that's it in life in general, and this is something that I know about, guys. I'm an engineer. I taught for 5 years development, design, I taught many things, and I then business, and excelled in that, thanks God. So yeah, this is something that I know about, and this is one of the things that I'm absolutely enjoying in that whole thing. It's showing it live, real time, how we form questions first, then when we see the answer, then and only then we make use of it. So all I did before turning the camera on was you see, guys, how I have my own gem here, and all I just did was open a YouTube window and type Gekko gameplay, and now, ladies and gentlemen, we start watching. Okay, I'm not gonna check each and every one. I'm just gonna randomly click on the first, and wait, I need to make sure that my sound is coming through my headphones here, and yeah, all right.
Oh, they're all detained.
Leave me. One enemy.
Gekko is live. Awesome, Joey here, and finally the newest agent hits the battlefield. We're going to show you exactly what he's capable of, but first, as you know, the Oni 2.0 skin collection just dropped as well, and
wait, oh, it's like League. So not all the agents got released at the same time. Okay, that makes sense. All right, okay, wow, that means awesome. Then when every new agent gets released, all right.
We are giving away a full set via PayPal to one lucky subscriber who comments their favorite part about Gekko. Best of luck, and let's get back to the plays.
Bro isn't explaining anything, right?
Let's talk about this Thrash ult. So you link up with Thrash's mine and steer her through the map. When you activate, Thrash lunges forward and explodes. Any enemies in the radius are detained like a Killjoy ult for 6 seconds. They can't do a thing. It's kind of insane.
Siempre. Uno aquí, lo rompo.
No, thank you so much, but I'm not getting much from that video yet. That has 90k views. Okay, he's awesome and all of that, but I didn't get much. Here's what I learned. All right, show me what you got.
A while ago, I non-stop played Gekko during the Gekko to Ascendant series. During this time, I learned a lot about this agent, and in this Gekko guide I'll share everything I learned. I'll start with the abilities, then I go to combos, playstyle, and in the end I will answer the question, is Gekko a good agent to rank up with? Now sit back, relax and enjoy, my friends. Let's start off simple with the abilities, and let's begin with this yellow blob over here, his wingman. This is the most iconic Gekko ability. With the wingman you can plant and defuse the spike, of course. And here's immediately the biggest tip I can give you with Gekko. On the attacking side, if you use your wingman to plant the spike, it's important to follow it and defend it with your life. alive. If you don't do that, then the enemies can just shoot on it, and then suddenly the spike is in the middle of the site and it's very hard to get for your team. While on the other hand, if you push together with your wingman, the enemies might get distracted and you can get a nice kill while they are shooting on your wingman, like in this clip. And the same idea if you're using your yellow blob to defuse the spike. In this round it was a...
I have no idea why I didn't think of that. I didn't know how it can be done actually. Alright.
1 versus 3, my wingman was defusing and the first threat was chamber. Instead of hiding a little bit and letting him defuse, I decided to rush chamber and that's how I won this 1v3.
Player standing.
One behind side.
Somebody's there.
Nice. I got him.
Yes. Besides planting and defusing, the wingman can of course also stun the enemies. And here's a mistake that a lot of newer Gekko players are making. A mindset that a lot of Gekko players are having is that they should save the wingman for defusing or planting the spike. And they are kinda right. Defusing and planting with the wingman is very overpowered. But here's the thing, if you use your wingman, you can always pick it up again. And this is an aspect that a lot of players will forget in the middle of a battle. So remember, if you're pushing lamps anyway and you think there might be an enemy over there, just use your wingman and pick it up again.
One enemy remaining.
Hey, wingman OP.
Let's move on to the second ability, the
That's
Gekko
amazing.
Flash. Just like the yellow blob, the blue blob can also be picked up after being used. So what a lot of Gekko players would do is this. First, find a spot close to the barriers, and when they go down, use your flash straight up. It might spot enemies for some info, and then it falls back so you can pick it up again. A very nice tricky to get some early info, but if you are feeling risky, then of course you can also peek behind it. And getting info is actually a very important aspect of the Gekko Flash. This ability is not like other flashes where you purely use the flash to blind the enemies, but if you use this ability high in the sky, it will shoot exactly to the spots where the enemies are standing. And when you're gonna play Gekko, you're gonna notice that this information is usually way more important than just blinding the enemies. Take this round for example. I had no idea that Omen was on the left over there, so luckily that my flash spotted him, otherwise I probably wouldn't have checked it.
Where?
It's close.
And one more just to emphasize how good the information is.
Dizzy has targets. Ready.
Let's move on to the C ability of Gekko, the Mosh Pit! Yeah, this ability is called Mosh Pit. Don't ask me why. Here's what you have to know about this ability. First of all, the trajectory of the Mosh Pit is exactly the same as the Killjoy Nanoswarm and the KO Molly. So if you're lazy and you know the KJ or KO lineups, you can use exactly those lineups.
Last player standing. One enemy.
Oh, wait, I said when you're lazy, there's a big but. The Mosh Pit is way bigger than the Nanoswarms and the Mollies. This means that if you have a Molly lineup that ends up like this, the Mosh Pit will also land like this. Is it effective? Yes, it is effective. But could it be more optimized? Yes. Instead of landing over here, it's better if the Mosh Pit lands over here. This way it's harder for the enemies to run out of it. So again, if you're lazy, you could use the same lineups as KJ and KO. But in reality, if you want to be optimized, you should tweak the lineups a little bit. And for the rest, this ability you just used in exactly the same way as the typical Molotov, in the post plant to stop pushes or to get people out of corners.
One enemy
Haha,
remaining.
not today.
Let's move on to the Gekko ultimate, it's fishy. In my opinion, the Gekko ultimate is one of the hardest ultimates to use effectively. If you make a small mistake, for example you think that your teammate Sky is the enemy Sky, then you can completely throw around like I did over here.
Miss hours.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, so
Oh my god, I'm
killed
so
my
bad,
enemy
sorry.
team's
That's
mates.
my bad.
But no worries, if you know how to use it, you can get a lot of kills with this ability and I'll show you how. Tip number 1, a mistake that a lot of Gekko players are making is using their ultimate towards the enemies going very deep, and because they go so deep it's impossible for them to get to the enemies. This is bad for multiple reasons. The first one, it's very hard to take back your ultimate when it's down, and the second reason, if you decide to rush to the enemies, then they will not be stunned by the time you get there and something like this might happen.
You countered it away, dude!
Sages
I got him.
One enemy remaining. Last
Oh, he's
player
done
standing.
already.
So instead, what I recommend, if you don't see any enemies, just go back towards yourself, pick it up and use it again later that round. Another important tip is that you should be using your ultimate in combination with your teammates. A bit like the Sky Dog. So don't use your ultimate when you're all by yourself in the hope to get a kill, but say to your teammates that you're gonna use your ultimate, let them follow it and make kills together, like in this clip.
Beam! I got him. Nice.
And as you noticed, I didn't go too far with my ultimate, so I could simply pick it up again and use it again in the same round.
One enemy.
He's low.
Aye, nice.
And those were the abilities. Now before we go to the playstyle on the attacker and the defender side, let's first talk about combos. If you want to pick up Gekko, it's important to know some ability combos. Here are a few examples that won me a lot of rounds. If you use your ultimate and you notice that you can't get to the enemies because it's too dangerous, instead of pushing and trying it anyway, use your mosh pit. Because the mosh pit is so big, there's actually a pretty high chance that the enemies will stand in it while stunned, and then you get an easy kill. When your wingman is planting and you know for sure that the enemies can't destroy it, because you know that they are on a different spot or your teammates are on site, try to pick up...
Those orbs can be captured?
The ultimate orb. You have to do some...
Those things can be captured. They are called ultimate orbs? I didn't know what they were. They are ultimate orbs? They are called ultimate orbs. Wow. Alright.
Something right, and if your wingman is planting, plus you get the ultimate orb, you get 2 points in 1 round. Very handy for the post plant. Just make sure that you use your ult in time.
Oh, what? Oh, I thought I killed the plant.
Gekko's ultimate is very strong in combination with Brimstone. First of all, the stim beacon can boost the Gekko ult. And second of all, if you stun enemies, Brimstone can use his ultimate on that spot and you get 3 kills.
I got him! I got him! Ult that. Yeah! Oh, you got one.
So if you play duo queue, ask your friend if he can play Brimstone. And the last combo is for the post plant. Make sure to first do your mosh pit lineup and after that do your ultimate. And the cool thing, if you are too early with your ultimate, you can just camp on the spike. You don't have to rush forward and this will waste the time of the enemies, just like in this round.
One enemy remaining.
Haha, lol.
Now let's move on and talk about the playstyle of Gekko. Let's first talk about the attacking side. As you probably already knew, Gekko is an initiator. So the main role of Gekko is to assist your teammates getting onto a site. And this is exactly how you should play this agent. Don't push in first, but stay a bit on the back and use your flash over walls to assist your teammates, like this.
Yeah.
And once they get a little control over site, that's your cue that you gotta push and plant the spike with your wingman. It's important that you stay alive, so don't try to push in first. Why is it important that you stay alive? Well, the Gekko post plant is very strong, mainly because of his ultimate, flash, and of course you can play lineups with the mosh pit.
Bro.
Lineup incoming.
Last player standing.
Raise low.
One enemy remaining.
Yeah, I sadly lost this 1v4 because I'm boosted, but you get the point. Now let's go to the defender side. As we all know, on the defender side, often you have to play solo to defend the side. Take Lotus for example. Usually you have 2 on A, 2 on B and 1 on C. For Gekko, a big tip I can give you is try to never go solo. Gekko's abilities are very strong in combination with the duelist for example, so try to find a buddy and stay with him. If you ever get into a situation where you're solo on site and the enemies are pushing you, then don't play like a Killjoy or a Cypher, but the best thing you can do is to just take a step back, consider just going off the side and then retake with your teammates.
On spot, on spot.
So, now the big question. Is Gekko an easy agent to rank up with? This is what I think. If you're a player that likes to work together with your teammates, then go for Gekko. I think this is the perfect agent for a duo queue or a 3-stack or more. But if you're solo queuing and you're more of an independent player, then pick someone else like a duelist or a sentinel. This is the end of the video. I hope
Wow. I apologize to everyone who's seen my game with Echo. It was Gekko, sorry. I'm gonna subscribe to Mr. Lowlander. Thank you so much for that knowledge. Well, alright then. Okay. I'm gonna check. Wait. Breach? Today I played with Cypher. I'm gonna check Breach first. Breach. Alright. And does Mr. Lowlander have a video for Breach? That was good video for Gekko. Wait. No. Okay. I'm gonna check random one then. 2,600 hours on Breach? Wow! Wow! 2,000 hours on Breach. Alright. I want to see a good, not guide. Okay, show me what 2,600 hours on Breach look like.
Who the fuck is this Joe guy? And why does he keep picking Breach? It's pissing me off.
He's the breach player.
I hate this.
After Nosy switched and went to Yoru. Oh no. Joe sad. You ever misplay in your breach all the time? He's so boring, dude. So
Like no way this guy
boring.
locks in. No way this guy locks in Breach 3 times or 2 times on in customs. Is actually cringe.
No, it's every map. Yeah, I don't think
This
I've
is
ever seen him
cringe.
play anything else. Whoa, breach lives matter, though. Can we relax over there, folks?
I'm getting upset. I'm getting upset.
It's okay. Deep breaths, Buns. Deep breaths.
If I get stunned and blinded and die, I'm gonna be upset. Oh, there's the stun. Oh, there's the blind.
Down mid.
Wow!
One enemy remaining.
Mommy!
No way. Our Viper's thrown. What's there?
Wait.
What?
Wait a minute.
Yeah, I won't clear anything.
Oh man, I tried, man.
You're good.
I played in the map. I played in that map. Today. Was it today? Yesterday. Or was it today? Can't remember.
Flash to the wall. I'll throw an eye. They're here.
Oh, cancer. That's actually AIDS. No! Have mercy!
Suppress guy. Top mid.
Alright, FF. They need FF right now.
There is FF in Valorant?
No way. Yeah, that's okay.
Sure.
Like, that's just tilting. That should be 100% a kill. Like, there's no like.
Alright, I got.
AD on the beach.
Last player.
Yeah, both on side.
Player standing.
Lucky.
Money up lane, money up lane.
75.
I don't think I have enough knowledge or experience to grasp how amazing what I'm watching is yet. I need to see something that's more, primitive. That only update breach guide you'll ever need. And only updated. Alright.
In this video, we're going to give you a complete guide on how to use Breach. What do each of his abilities do? And more importantly, how should you use them optimally? Let's dive right in. Breach is an agent in the Initiator class, which means his job is to clear out angles and create advantageous fights for his team to take space. He's very different from an agent like Sova though. He doesn't reveal or scout out enemies, but instead makes use of flashes and stuns to make life much more difficult for the enemies. In the right hands, he can be insanely powerful, so here's how to use it. Starting off with Breach's signature ability, the Fault Line. Fault Line is more commonly called Breach's stun and is equipped by using his E key by default. After equipping, holding down your fire button will charge up the ability and increase its length up to 56 meters in front of you. And you can look at the minimap to see exactly which area will be covered by the stun. Simply release mouse 1 to activate the stun, and anyone caught in it will be concussed for 3.5 seconds, making them prime targets to pick off. Once the ability is used, there's a 40-second cooldown before it can be used again. So by spacing it out, you can use it multiple times around. Now that we've run down how the fault line works, here's some advice on how to use it. First and foremost, you want to use the minimap to your advantage when using your fault line. If your teammates are fighting a cluster of enemies across the map, it can be incredibly useful to aim a fault line at them on the map to give your team the advantage in their gunfight by stunning the opposing team mid-fight. So keep an eye on the minimap when your team's in trouble, and you can support your boys from a mile away. You'll also want to partner up with any agents on your team with fast movement abilities to follow up on stunned enemies better. Jet's Dash, Raze's Satchels, and Neon's Run are all perfect for teaming up. Just stun any enemies who are a short distance away and have your teammate pounce on them. It's a great way to secure that first kill in a round and make the enemies more cautious and less likely to go for aggressive plays. Finally, the fault line is a great tool for clearing out common angles that need to be pushed. The likes of A main and B main on Fracture and Ascent are perfect examples of where to use Breach's stun. You can effectively clear out the area and subsequently prevent the enemies from holding the angle in the future. This works particularly well against operator players who are left utterly hopeless once they get concussed. The next ability is Flashpoint, or just Breach's Flash. It's equipped using the Q key by default and sends out a flash with left click that goes through walls up to 10 meters thick. When fully blinded, enemies are denied vision for a full 2 seconds. There's a 1 second windup after you send the flash, so particularly fast enemies might be able to turn away. So it's best to be prepared for anything when peeking. There isn't much more to it, so let's get into the best ways to use the flash. Similar to the fault line, the flash is best played off of someone who's able to capitalize off it better. Either someone with movement abilities or just someone closer to the corner to peek around it. The reason is that it takes almost a full second to get your gun back up after sending the flash out, meaning that anyone who turned from the blind will be able to take you out before you're ready to fight. So taking advantage of a teammate who already has their gun out nearby is the best way to go about it. The style of play dubbed Flash and Dash is probably one of the clearest examples of how Breach's flashes can look when used optimally. You have a Breach and a Jet working together in tandem, and the result is just perfect harmony. Practically, Jet tells Breach when he's about to dash, and as soon as he does, Breach sends out a flash to instantly capitalize off the space made. If you've ever had the pleasure of playing against a good Jet Breach duo, you'll know exactly what we're talking about. But even if you haven't, don't worry, this is totally something you can learn to do yourself if you got a friend to play with. The second piece of advice we have is to try and place your flash at the edges of the opponent's screen, rather than at head height right in front of them. The reason for this is that it will touch the edges of the opponent if you got a friend to play with. The second
it just hit me in the feeling if you got a friend to play with.
Piece of advice we have is to try and place your flash at the edges of the opponent's screen, rather than at head height right in front of them. The reason for this is that it will take them longer to notice the flash is hitting them. Something that's far from your crosshair naturally takes longer to identify. What's more is that if they turn to the left and the flash is on the left side of their screen, they might not be able to turn far enough in time to avoid it. Finally, after flashing, you should take an extra moment to swing wider if you're peeking off of it. Most people start spraying the corner.
Stunned enemies, blinded enemies, it shows that they're blind. Huh? Oh, it's Aisha. It's Aisha. It's the prayer for Aisha. Allah Akbar, Allah la ilaha illallah.
They're expecting you to swing out from. So taking the time to go wider from the corner before shooting.
I just realized he looks like Yusuf from One Piece. Yusuf, but it looks like he's blinded. Oh wow.
Would definitely be advantageous. Not just that, but on the rare occasion that you might whiff, it'll take longer for the person who's now unflashed to figure out where you are, since they're expecting you right on the corner instead of miles away from it. Before we cover the rest, I want to quickly tell you about our website ProGuides.com. On there, we offer a wide range of tools that you can use to improve faster, like pro courses and even coaching. If you're looking to improve the fastest way you can, check out ProGuide's subscription for just $8 a month. Breach's third ability is the Aftershock, and it is equipped using C by default. The Aftershock sends out 3 blasts covering a cylindrical area 10 meters long and 6 meters wide. Each blast deals 60 damage for a total of 180 to anyone caught in all 3. Similar to Breach's flashes, it needs a wall to go through in order to be used, and it will show up as red on the minimap if it won't work. For example, if it's beyond the maximum deploy distance of 35 meters. Now, let's get into some tips on how to use the Aftershock most effectively. The Aftershock works perfectly to drive enemies out of corners and force them to swing you. We often see players trying to use it as a stall, similar to a molly on a main entrance. And while that can work briefly, it's not as effective as saving it for later in the round. So when you know an enemy is in a corner, just throw an Aftershock their way and they'll be forced to swing into you. For bonus points, you can combine this with a flash so that they're almost certainly going to die either way. The next tip we have is going to really annoy those Sova and Skye players. When you hear a drone or a dog coming, you can send an Aftershock through the common corners Sovas and Skies like to use those from. They can't hear the utility coming, and if their team through the common corners Sovas and Skye players. When you hear a drone or a dog coming, you can send an Aftershock through the common corner Sovas and Skies.
Yeah, the one sending the drone here isn't Breach. I thought, when did Breach have a drone?
Like to use those from. They can't hear the utility coming, and if their team doesn't warn them in time, it's totally a free kill.
Okay.
We already talked about combining the Aftershock and the Flashpoint to kill enemies who are swinging, but there's another combination that can work.
Again, as Muslims, when we hear the adhan, we repeat after it. If you're not doing anything that's extremely important, you just pause a little while, repeat after the adhan, think about it for a little bit. But for some prayers, usually it should be that for all prayers you just get up and go to the prayer. For some prayers, as today, or no, not just today, Isha prayer, which is the last prayer of the day. It's the prayer of the night. It's the last prayer of the day. You can wait, especially if you're gonna have friends to pray with. If you're gonna pray in a group, you can. It's alright to wait. Because you're gonna pray in a group, you're gonna gather together. It's actually better if you wait. That's why I'm waiting, because I'm having friends coming over. We're gonna play, and we might actually stream that gameplay of ours. We're gonna play FIFA and other stuff. But there is a high possibility that one or two of them would still haven't prayed Isha yet. So usually we pray together. So yeah, that's why you don't see me just leaving away from my desk trying to catch the prayer right now. Alright.
Just as well, if not better. By stunning the area you're aftershocking first, you can render the opponent mostly immobile, meaning they'll really struggle to get out of the—
This is an orb. This is an ultimate orb.
—way in time.
My theory up till now is that those ultimate orbs reduce the cooldown of an ult, or give me one that is really alright. It's one of the other, or the other. It either reduces or the cooldown for my ult, or just give me an ult.
We find this works best on people who are planting the spike, as they'll be forced to get off immediately, meaning you'll either have stopped the plant or getting yet another free.
This is all advanced for me. He already taught me a lot, actually. I'm gonna subscribe, drop a subscribe as well. Now I wanna see Cypher. The best Cypher? Blaze, no, I don't wanna see the best Cypher. I'm not gonna understand them. I just wanna see a gameplay. 1000 Cypher. Yo, that bro has a good content that he can just see how. I might do that actually. See how. Find out how I can see how many hours each and every one of my opponents have on each agent. And then do some videos about that. It'd be awesome. Ultimate Cypher montage. New Cypher Angry Duelist. Ultimate Cypher guide. Well, I'm not a big fan of skill capped actually. They are just. Here's the thing, guys. I'm thinking from the point of view of someone like me, you know, someone who don't know what they don't know. So those guides and those videos that I'm watching right now, they are not geared toward, or you know, they are not made for those who are like me, who are still even new to the game, that they don't know most of the terminology of the game. I think I might do a very, very primitive guide. I hate editing. I hate spending time, you know, trying to explain my, which is, again, I used to teach, but because I used to do it, I know how much effort it takes. But I might do that because I'm still seeing a huge gap here between the level of those videos, or maybe I'm just stupid. I don't think so. I don't think that I'm stupid. Alright. Show me a good... Oh, that wolf is cool. It's the dog. Yeah, it's his... I think, yeah, it's his, okay, it's his profile picture. Okay. Alright. I'm gonna check that.
In this video, we'll go over all you need to know to become an effective Cypher player. What's going on, guys? In this video, we'll go over all you need to know.
Just so you know, guys, if you're watching this video, we got our first win ever in Valorant today with Cypher. Not that I was MVP, I wasn't the MVP, but I contributed. I was the force. There was some guy playing with us who just got killed all the time, and I actually contributed somehow.
To become an effective Cypher player. What's going on, guys? It's your host, Sergeant Frost, and today we're breaking down Cypher. Cypher is a one-man surveillance unit that keeps tabs on every move the enemy makes. No secret is safe, no movement goes unseen, he is always watching. Unless you break his camera, of course. So let's not waste any time and go over how you can carry games by revealing your enemy's positions and trapping them for your team to hunt down. Many beta players will have fond memories of the original buggy Cypher and all the beautiful chaos.
Is there, for some reason... Oh yeah, okay. It's the sound of my fans, alright. It's because I'm checking the audio levels on OBS, so I'm seeing the mic going up slightly each and every time, and I'm not talking. So yeah, I think it's capturing some of my fans, I believe.
That came along with them. From a bug that allowed Cypher to float in the air if he was on a stage wall that broke when chaos that came down. Many beta players will have fond memories of the original buggy Cypher and all the beautiful chaos that came along with him. From a bug that allowed Cypher to float in the air if he was on a stage wall that broke when he was on his cam, to the infamous sheriff wielding camera. Cypher has probably had some of the most hilarious issues I've ever seen in an FPS game. A lot of work has gone into ironing Cypher out and tuning him into the fluid and satisfying sentinel that he is today. Some of the changes we have seen to his kit since beta has been the removal of his cage's movement penalty, his trip no longer breaking Jet's dashes, and the maximum length of his trips being made longer, to name a few changes. As mentioned in our Killjoy video, let's have a quick recap of the Sentinel role. Sentinels are one of the 4 agent roles in Valorant. The abilities of agents in this role focuses on defensive play, with emphasis on supporting the rest of the team through intel, anchoring sites, and preventing the enemy team from flanking.
I was right about my Fury. I didn't know that they are called Sentinel. Today when I played the game, I thought they were something like Recon or something, Reconnaissance and stuff like that. But I was right, okay. I chose someone with those abilities because I thought it's gonna be more beneficial to my team, especially with my skill level up till now.
The Sentinel role in Valorant can be further broken down into the hard and soft variety, with soft focusing on mobility like Chamber and Sage, and hard focusing on playing around their utility and being close to a bomb site. All of Cypher's utility matches the description of the hard Sentinel role. Cypher's signature ability is his spy cam. The camera is a powerful information ability that allows you to gather and communicate information to your team. If placed correctly, the camera can get round-defining info, such as where the enemy is going, what they are doing, and also where they are not. In addition to it being a remote camera that is accessible at any stage of the round, it also possesses the ability to shoot a dart that reveals tagged enemies every 2 seconds until they remove it. The dart has a cooldown of 6 seconds between charges, so it can't exactly be spam, but you may be able to get off multiple tags before the enemy team locates the spy cam. Sometimes it's best not to tag an enemy and give away that you're stalking them with your camera, and simply ping them for your teammates. The camera has a 15-second restock time when recalled, and a 45-second one when destroyed, so it's in your best interest to position it so that it doesn't get pre-fired in common cam spots. The camera has a massive 1 HP, meaning every gun in the game will break it at any range with a single bullet, provided you hit it of course. I'm sure all of us have struggled to place a cam before, so let me tell you the requirements that go into it being placeable. The camera can be a maximum of 20 meters away and up to 4.5 meters vertically above where you're.
I'm gonna adjust my microphone here, just a tiny bit, and alright. Let you know guys that every time today now while I'm watching that, I think about how many cams I wasted today just throwing thinking that they work with how did I think they work today? I thought that they plus some kind of of a spherical blast that goes expand this way and reveal enemies. It offers a similar behavior I see now, but it's not just like that. Alright.
You are standing at the time of placing, which is why you often see Cypher players trying to jump and place their perfect camera. One important feature to note is that if you take damage while on your camera, you will unequip it. It's pretty cool that Riot is looking out for our safety, even if it's already too late. Now, before we move on to trips and go more in depth on how to play the agent, I should quickly let you know that if you're serious about improving, we also offer high quality guides and coaching over on our website ProGuides.com. For just $8 a month, you can get access to everything including our past pro boot camps, and things that can help you get an idea of what it takes to improve in a competitive game like Valorant. Now let's get back into the video. Next, the Trapwire, or better known by the community as Trips. This is probably Cypher's most annoying ability as it can come out of nowhere and ruin your whole lurk. Coming in at 200 credits, it's a very cost-effective way to hold a flank, as it is often a place and forget ability. The Tripwire is the most powerful flank holding ability in the game right now as it has no range limitations, and it can't be smoked off, and only a select number of characters possess the abilities to circumvent its presence. As we all know, when an enemy walks into a trip, they are highlighted until the trip is broken or it reaches the end of its 3-second wind-up time. If the enemy fails to escape the trip after 3 seconds, they are hit with a concussion, similar to Breach's stun for 3 seconds as well as 5 damage, which hopefully should make them a free kill. But we all know how insanely accurate shooting when stunned in Valorant is. Let's go back to the basics and talk about some numbers. A wire can be up to 15 meters long in length, or about 7.5 breaches if you are keeping up with the lore. The trip will become translucent to enemies when they are within 3 meters of it, and it will start to make a soft, infamous buzzing noise. Trips can be placed both high and low, but the best height to place them is usually around waist level, as this ensures the enemies can't jump over them or crouch under them. That's not to say trips placed for giants can't be useful. In this pro game between Big and Vitality, a trip was placed specifically to counter a strat that the Jet player was doing in this exact play. In your ranked games though, don't do this, it's not worth it, no matter how cool it will look if it does catch someone. This is Big specifically counter-stratting Vitality after watching some of their previous games. Abusing tendencies is something you should look to do on Cypher, but throwing a trip like this in round 2 on the off chance an enemy accidentally updrafts into it is definitely not the play. Not only does it catch players, but it also catches utility like Sky's Trailblazer, Fade's Prowlers, and Sova's Drone. This can be a double-edged sword though.
Not Gekko's fish? Not Gekko's ultimate?
For example, it can make it so that Sky's dog can't get info, but people may also intentionally sacrifice a Prowler so that the trap can't be disruptive later on. Knowledge of kill trips is a very important part of being a top Cypher player. These trips are placed in unexpected players that enemies tend to path onto sight with, and are often used in conjunction with a cage, allowing players to spam the player without getting a real chance of firing back. The cage can be either placed around the trip so that the unfortunate opponent can't even see the edges of the wire and have a bigger chance of tripping it. Or it can be placed on Cypher himself so that he can use the light up effect and spam enemies with his one-way vision through the cage. To get the most value out of Cypher's utility on defense, having good trips are essential. You need to either have deadly setups that allow you to play off your cam, cages, and trips, or use them aggressively for early information that allows your team to rotate early. An example of an aggressive trip is tripping the entrance of B main on Ascent, and a deadly trip would look something more like that Big example. Furthermore, Cypher's trips can hold important areas of the map, like Garage on Haven and Vents on Split, so that way your team can allocate their attention and resources elsewhere. That brings us to our question of the day segment. Today's question is, do Sentinels need any changes right now? Personally, I think Cypher's trips might be a bit too strong against Jet right now, which makes approaching a lot of bomb sites extremely difficult. But then again, Cypher was hard to get value from whenever Jet would always break his trips as well. Maybe something in between where Jet is lit up but isn't flung back and stopped in place, but honestly I'm not sure. Enough about my thoughts, what about yours? Let us know what you think in the comment section down below. The last of Cypher's purchasable abilities is his Cyber Cage. It is a remotely activated vision blocking ability that covers a radius of 3.72 meters and lasts 7.25 seconds. Riot must have believed that this ability was perfect from day one, as they have only ever made 2 changes to it. It used to have a slow in the beta, and they made it so that you were able to pick it up during the buy phase all the way back in patch 1.04. Unlike the rest of Cypher's non-ultimate abilities, it cannot be broken by enemies shooting it. They just have to accept that it could be popped at any second. Cages on defense are often set up so they are one-ways or placed in choke points so that they act as a smoke and potentially stall the enemy's eruption onto the site. Cages can be used on both sides as impromptu smokes that can allow you to block off angles, or even act as a scaled-back replacement for smokes in the absence of your controller player. An example of this is a cage being thrown from A main split to try to block off any line of sight a defender may have from CT and elbow. This can salvage a bad start to a round and give you a chance back into the round. On attack, they can be used to safely cross positions, most popularly A main on Haven. But this can also be used to create fake information, as the enemy can't know what is going on behind the cage and they can only assume. An example of this cage being thrown from A main split to try to block off any line of sight a defender may have from CT, and as previously touched on, cages can be very disruptive with trips as they enable you to get some free spam kills on enemies or at least disorientate them. One of the big upsides Cypher's cages have had over smokes is that they make an audio cue whenever someone passes through the edge of the cage, allowing you to know if someone has pushed it and that you should be prepared for them. I also like to keep a cage on defense to help myself get back onto site and isolate enemy players from their team. Also, a quick tip is that a cage can be a neat way to get the spike halfway or even fully stick it because of its long duration. Knowing a few one-way cages on every map can elevate your Cypher play, as they are annoying to play near enemies, and now with the latest Omen changes, some players may even forget how to play against them in the future. Another way to make your team love you is understanding that your cages can be a good counter to operator players. Their primary purpose is to block the vision of the enemy similarly to Jet smoke, and once within your cage, you can now throw another so that it can be used to scale on the AWPer. Furthermore, they can also be used to block off sight lines and lock them out of fights altogether, as they can't spam the cage like someone with a Phantom or a Vandal. The final piece of utility in Cypher's surveillance kit is his ultimate, Neural Theft. This 6-point ultimate allows you to download the enemy team's position and flash their location on your screen. This ability got a sizable buff in patch 5.10, as it now allows you to use it on any hostile body, no matter how long they have been dead, and most importantly, it now scans the enemy twice, once after 2 seconds and then again after another 4 seconds have passed. This can be a powerful tool in a retake, as it allows you to have a better picture of how the enemy team is playing, and also mid-round on attack, as you can see them set up on the other team, so you know where to go. With all these new ideas we have presented you, I can hear you thinking to yourself, how do I actually identify if my utility is good or not? Good question, so let's find out. To start, a good camera should be hidden, but revealing everything in the sense that it is in an unusual position that sees a valuable area. For example, this camera on B-Split is great, as not only does it spot into main, gathering crucial early information, but it also serves as a powerful retake camera, especially with the removal of the rafters above Hell. This camera is in a high up position that most enemies won't be looking for, making it hard to destroy. This camera also allows you to see deep into A main before the enemy team can spot it, so you can relay if the enemy team is showing presence or rushing the site. An important aspect to keep in mind with any Sentinel's utility, not just Cypher's, is how you can use it to interact with your other utility, such as Killjoy popping a molly off alarm bot contact, or with Cypher popping a cage off the back of the info gathered from a camera. Let's now look at this one-way cage that allows you to see attackers' legs from rafters. As a result of the camera, you now know when the attackers have crossed into main, and therefore they could potentially be inside of the cage. Most players will be mindful of the possibility of it not being a one-way, so they may not push, but for others it may be too late to reconsider that. Add a low trip on the floor and this forces the enemies to either stand still and break it, which makes them a free kill, or walk into it again and be a free kill, or jump it and out of the cage, making them wait the moment before they can actually accurately fire. On the attack side, it is important to know how to take space with a cage, rather than just throwing it for the sake of it. It is important to have intent behind it. Sticking to our examples of Split, these two cages allow you to deny information to any defender playing behind it, but also block off anyone holding them with an AWP, denying them their early pick and forcing them to reposition. Another way to find big value with your cages is to set them up as if they were smokes for your post plant. A cage on the positions funnel back into sight allow you to stall them for longer, as they either have to wait them out or storm through them, triggering the audio cue as well. Last but not least for defensive tips, position them at waist level for information gathering and try to place them as low as you can for kill trips, as people are far more likely to run into them during a hectic push than a normal height trip. Well folks, that's all for our ultimate Cypher guide. What agent would you like us to do next?
Wow. That was released 11 months ago. Wow. I'm thinking of all the possibilities that I can use Cypher. Again, out of everything that I've seen in Valorant up till now. Alright? Because if you're watching this, you already know what I've seen or what I've experienced. So out of all of that, again, Cypher still seems the closest to my even style in real life. So I'm gonna tell you guys in games, in chess and Call of Duty or what other games that we play, that I can tell you that I use some abilities similar to Cypher. Usually I'm that guy, right? I'm the guy that prepares, because Cypher seems like someone who prepares, right? He just doesn't go head in first and try and smash his way in. No. My way is to prepare and make sure that I have all the weak points covered and stuff like that. This is what I'm doing. I'm learning right now. This is me researching. So, yeah. Alright. Those have been Gekko, Preach, and Cypher. Now I know more than 45 minutes ago. It's 43 minutes into the video now. I'm gonna end the video here. Now I know more than 45 minutes ago. I'm learning. I can't wait to log in. Maybe in a few hours I'm gonna log in and try a game with Cypher again. Now I know more. See you in the next episode, guys. Sorry, that episode had no gameplay, but well, I'm researching. I'm learning.